Enlightenment.
Hey fam.
In stormy skies.
So
We
I
are
wanted
here as beings
to talk
of
about
light,
something real quick.
benevolent, invested in humanity and
Twitter, there was a
revolution.
hashtag, I trust Bernie. Didn't know what's going on, researched a little bit, try to see what's going on. Apparently, some aides from the Warren camp, Elizabeth Warren's camp, had reported to CNN. Every time I keep thinking about it, there's just more questions come up. I don't know why, but for some reason they came within the past week or two. Red flags, red flags, red flags, right? Of a meeting in 2018 between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren at Elizabeth Warren's apartment, where they had talked for a couple of hours in regards to their policies, what they had planned to do for their, presidential campaign that was coming up, and how they wanted to remain civil throughout the campaign trail, and be supportive of each other, positive, create a positive atmosphere. This was in late 2018 that this meeting took place, right? We are now fucking January 2020. We are now getting word from Elizabeth Warren's aides to CNN. Now, CNN has been routinely running narratives against Bernie Sanders about how he has issues with, he has gender issues. He has issues relating to women. He hates women. He has an issue getting women voters. That same CNN runs a story about how Bernie Sanders says he doesn't think a woman could be elected president. In the same meeting he had with fucking Elizabeth Warren, where they discussed their policies and plans for their upcoming presidential campaign. What? Many questions. First off, why is this just coming up right now? It's fucking 2020. Why did they just come forward with this? Why didn't they say anything beforehand? Why? Second thing, why is Elizabeth Warren's, why didn't she say anything? If this is true, why didn't Elizabeth Warren say anything about Bernie Sanders' statement? Why didn't she denounce him? Shouldn't that be something that, as an advocate for women's rights, you would be at the forefront speaking out against? That would seem like something that would be a little sketchy to me if you just hid that and you didn't want to say anything about it. And the aides are the people that we have to thank for bringing this forward, because without them, we wouldn't know any of this. Elizabeth Warren wouldn't have said a damn thing. I'm sorry, Elizabeth Warren voters, do you feel okay with that? Do you feel okay that the aides for Elizabeth Warren are withholding information until it's convenient in a race that's going to expose one of the candidates for being sexist? She's just going to let this sexist person go in the political atmosphere and they weren't going to say anything until it was convenient for them? That seems kind of weird. Why would you withhold information about somebody that would prove that they would be a very big issue for minority rights? A lot of red flags there. Also, these would be the same aides as some of them that had also worked with the Hillary Clinton campaign that had a few issues there. Also, some of these aides are also really fucking racist and homophobic, like Ashley Preston, who worked for Elizabeth Warren's campaign. Elizabeth Warren didn't vet this person at all. All anybody had to do was look 3 years back on her Twitter page to find her using the F slur routinely in all of her tweets and making racist remarks day after day about Asian people. These are the, and this was found out because she made a tweet about Bernie Bros and how they're messing up her Twitter mentions or something, and how they're so toxic. And then somebody's like, wait, actually you're the toxic one. Look at your tweets that you made. These are the people I'm supposed to believe? Okay, yeah, sure. The people that weren't in the meeting. Okay, alright. Definitely the people that are racist and homophobic, I'm definitely gonna believe them. They wouldn't have any reason to try and drag somebody through the mud. It's just that their fucking, their presidential candidate is nosediving in support and in the polls. Warren can't even get third place anymore. She's in fourth place behind Pete nowadays. She used to tie with Joe Biden in first place. Now she can barely get fourth place. She's nosediving in the polls. She's not getting the attention that she used to. All of a sudden, this comes up. A little weirdly convenient. Uh, well, I, I I don't know. This just kind of seems weird to me, right? Then we also combine this, right, with the fact that there's this script that leaked from Bernie's campaign, where Bernie attacked Elizabeth Warren. Oh, it was terrible. How could he ever do that? Sorry, I was looking at my dog. And Elizabeth Warren had issues with this, saying, "How dare Bernie attack me? How dare he and his aides and associates and all that attack me? Like this is not appropriate." These scripts were made to where her issue, and the only thing they even mentioned her was in these scripts. They have response for every other Democratic candidate in the primary, in response to if somebody, where they're canvassing or talking to somebody or phone banking, and this potential voter was saying that actually, my first choice is going to be like Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden. It has a script response to that, saying, this is paraphrasing, but this is pretty much what it says. I like Elizabeth Warren. In fact, she's my second choice. But here's my issue with her. The people that typically vote for Elizabeth Warren are people that normally vote Democratic no matter what, and she's not bringing any new people into the voting booth, and she's not gonna bring any new voters in there, and so her electability is a question. I feel that's what it says. Not only that, but it said things about all the candidates. Mayo Pete, fucking Joe Biden, any other loser out there. So, none of the other candidates had an issue with it, they didn't say anything about it, they didn't care. Probably mostly because it was true what he said about them. It was all about electabilities for each one. You'll notice that it was a theme. There was an electability that they were talking about, which I could see that might be. This is just assuming that it was actually a script that was actually made, and who knows if Bernie actually saw it or approved it or not. But even if it was, who the fuck cares? Are you kidding me? This is nothing. This is not attacking anybody. This is how a campaign works. You're trying to convince somebody to vote for the best candidate. And the best candidate is going to be the person that has the best policies and the ones that is most electable. Okay? That's just it. That's what you're going with your campaign for. If you think it's something else, I'm sorry. You live in a delusional world and you would like to believe that it's a different way, but it's not. Like, that's not the world that we live in. I'm sorry. That's the two things that you're going to have to deal with when you get into these primaries. And the fact that he's addressing an issue that people typically pin on Sanders, which is his electability, it flips the narrative on its head, which, I could see that they would try and do that, and maybe, that's clever or whatever. But who the fuck cares? Are you kidding me? Fox News is making fun of you for thinking that this is an issue. They said this isn't even attacking. It is Fox News, but everybody else is pretty much parroting the same thing except CNN and MSNBC. And we've all seen what happens when, the mainstream media and big corporations try to back a specific person. We saw how that worked in 2016, right? We all saw that, right? We saw how that didn't work, okay? So we probably don't want to, trust what those people are saying in regards to who they think is going to be elected, because as we've seen, that doesn't really work very well. I know, dog. Exactly what I said. Thank you. Thank you. And to follow up that story, the same people that leaked it, Politico, ran an article. They were saying like, oh, Bernie attacks Warren and everybody else, but whatever. That's not the headline. They then run an article about how Democrats should look forward to the upcoming slugfest that's coming on between the primaries, the primary candidates. Okay, are you reporting that there's issues with Bernie's camp and that he's attacking? Or is this actually a good thing for you and that people should look forward to it and get giddy with excitement about it? What the fuck? Why are you sending mixed signals? Then we also have the fact that there's video evidence multiple times of Bernie Sanders proclaiming that he believes a woman could be elected president and that would be a good thing. 1988. Fox News is reporting this, by the way. This is what happens, by the way, when you act retarded, when you try and attack each other, and you use stupid shit that people can just easily clap back at you with. I'm sorry, if this was actually true, the correct time to bring this up would not be now, okay? It would be prior. Not when you're below and losing. It would probably be when you're in a good position, but Bernie is still trying to sneak up on you. That would probably be the good position. Because now, Fox News, right? The people that the left wouldn't really want to be, on our side or agreeing with us really on issues, since they have a very conservative slant, is now reporting things to make you look bad. The Elizabeth Warren fan base. I mean, if we're talking about, we're talking about your fucking meeting that you had about how we don't want to break up the left and how we don't want to, separate and divide, you're doing a fucking fantastic job of doing that by lying, you idiot. I mean, you're telling me that the candidate that has been the most consistent candidate in United States politics history, whether you want to say he's right or wrong, this man has been the most consistent, political person I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anybody that's been more consistent than him on either side of the aisle. That this person all of a sudden, I'm just supposed to ignore the recorded numerous accounts and proof and evidence of him saying that he supports and believes that a woman could be elected president. I'm supposed to ignore that. But I'm supposed to then take for your word from your failing campaign that Bernie Sanders doesn't believe a woman could be elected president. And we don't have a reason for it? I'm sorry, how did that conversation get brought up? Typically when people talk like that and you're a woman that is trying to be elected president, I think you might want to dig into that a little bit, maybe see why he thinks that way, especially since somebody that you're good friends with, that you've been, campaigning with for a while here, seems to think that you can't win the campaign that you're putting forward, that you're discussing with him. How the fuck does any of this make sense to anybody? This just blows my mind. I'm sorry. I need somebody to explain this to me. As if I am a fucking idiot. Because that is the only way that it could make sense to anybody, is if you're a fucking idiot and you don't think about any of this. You don't see any of this coming up, or any of the context around it and how suspicious it looks. And to think that this... y'all will never beat Donald Trump if this is what you're going with. I cannot repeat that enough. I'm sorry. But you saw how the 2016 campaign went. You saw how that went, okay? You think that bringing in the identity politics against other people and using that as leverage against other people and trying to focus more so on that and the people that vote in that manner is going to get you to win? Look, we can talk all day about what's morally right or wrong, or how to run a campaign, or how to do this or that. You're not going to win against Trump. This is very important. Please understand me right now, okay? You're not going to win against Trump running that campaign. You're not going to get the moderates. You're not going to get some of the left-leaning people. You're not going to get some of the conservatives. You're not going to get some of the libertarians. You're not going to get the independents. You're not going to get the people that decided not to vote in the 2016 campaign because they didn't have a candidate that advocated for them, and they didn't feel like the primaries, they didn't feel like the election represented them at all. You're not going to get those voters. If you act like this, you're not getting them into the vote. What you're doing right now, right, and trying to push this out and lie about it, is you're pandering to the people that aren't having conversations with any of those voters. They're not. They're sitting in echo chambers. And they're not discussing anything with other people. I've seen them, and I've even tried to have conversations, civil conversations with people about the differences between policies between the two people. I've had people try to talk to me about Bernie Sanders' medical records and about how that is a reason why he could not be a suitable candidate, because he lied about his medical records that he didn't release. When he did, and he released the same type of medical records that every other candidate released. And I gave numerous evidence of it. And these people ask me a question in a tweet, block me, then retweet quote me saying, "Nah, Bernie bros," and then fuck off into their echo chambers. And these are the same people hashtagging never Bernie, and all this other bullshit. And then the same route will then say in another tweet, "Bernie bros, they're terrible. They're out there trying to divide the party." What the fuck are you doing? Are you serious? I just want to know, like, what the fuck happened. Please explain what happened in that meeting. I would love for Elizabeth Warren, please, and I'm sure her voters would like this as well. I would like her to discuss what was said in that meeting. I would love to know what Bernie Sanders said and what led him to say that. Who has an objection to that? Nobody should, right? She should do that. And if any of her voters have any fucking spine, they should actually ask her for that. Because if I was a voter of Elizabeth Warren, I'd be pretty pissed at her if after a year and a half, she decides to come out and confirm a story about this bullshit, about a political opponent. Or, a person that's supposedly an ally that doesn't believe women can be electable as a president. I would be pretty pissed. That's certainly not somebody I would want to support. And if somebody's hiding evidence of that, I don't know. That's an accomplice to the crime in my books. I'm just saying, Elizabeth Warren fans, you should hold your candidate responsible. You should ask her to go into more details, discuss exactly what had happened, and explain what brought about that statement from him so that you can know exactly what he said. I would like to know. Could be good or bad. I don't know. I would love to know myself. Let's hear it. I'm going to repeat myself 50 times, so I'm going to stop here.